Welcome to Something to Wrestle with Bruce Prichard. Well, you know.
That's not a rib.
She pooted.
What a rib?
No, yeah, I mean,
There's no box of gimmicks.
rumor and innuendo.
I don't deal in rumor and innuendo. And was he there? I was there. I don't give a shit. I ain't scared of shit.
I ain't scared of shit.
Fuck him.
You, Bruce.
I love you.
Double cheeseburger, double cheese, double mayo, double onion, motherfucker.
Bruce Prichard.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. What's going on, Bruce?
I was refreshed. I was so happy that you're here.
How you feeling today?
I'm feeling a whole hell of a lot better than last time.
Good.
Unfortunately, folks, I don't have any meds in me. I took those when I was hurting. I'm hurting right now, but I'm not hurting to the level of, oh my God, I need something. And I don't like to take pills. So I didn't. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. So I'm feeling as good. As I told the doctor today, I'm feeling as good as I can feel with you. Just a week out of digging it in my shoulder and finding a fourth incision. Yeah. They told me 3. I found 4.
You said you didn't have any drugs in your system right now. You got any prime in your system right now?
We're talking about.
There we go. That's what I needed. Needed to make sure we had that so we can have a good show. And we're going to have a great show because today we're paying tribute to a man who's had quite the career.
Can I ask you a question? I know, please, people, do not think that this is a dig at anything or anybody or any situation or anything. And this real life. This happened to me. Well, it was right before the surgery. A guy comes up to me and found out, what I did and everything. He goes, wow, man, you're around all those big guys all the time and everything. And they're, pretty aggressive because have you ever been like, just scared for your life that, they might go crazy and just, you get the shit beat out of you. And I looked at it for a minute and I go, dude, I have been in this business for 50 years. I have been in the middle of riots with people swinging everything under the sun. I have been in riots where guns were pulled. I have been knifed. I have been in every kind of situation you can be in this business. And I thought about it for a second. I said, no, I've never been scared in my life. And it made me think about it because of the open, which... How can you, other than whatever, but, yeah. I ain't scared. I ain't scared of shit. But I just found that so funny about a day or two before I went in. And I thought about it for a second. I really did. Because the guy knew nothing about wrestling at all. And the fact that he asked me that in the way that he asked me that, I was like, I'm never scared of shit. But anyway, have you? Like a guy comes in, wants a mortgage for $750,000, and you can only approve him for $749,000, and he just goes batshit fucking crazy. Starts throwing shit on your desk. Say, I'm gonna fuck you, Conrad Thompson.
No, that's never happened.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. SaveWithConrad.com, it says, man, why don't you save me that $1,000 and give me my loan?
No, that's never happened. We did have unfortunately, I believe it was a homeless person who was in the middle of a bad addiction and they had some sort of circumstance going on in their life. And they came in the front door just sort of ranting and raving once. That's the only time anybody in my office, I think, has been scared. They came and gave me a heads up and I talked to the person and got him calmed down and pointed in the right direction. But yeah, that
the police. Did you point him to the police?
No, I did not.
You pointed him to Bob Evans, didn't you?
No, we don't have a Bob Evans down here.
Cracker Barrel?
Nope, did not.
He could rock out on the chairs outside on the front porch.
Play some checkers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like fun. Really.
Yeah, or don't they have the little they have the little game with the
yes, the little pigs. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Hey, if it's all right with you, can we talk about George Gray? Can we talk about him?
Big George?
Yeah. He wrestled with you once, I think.
What do you think? Was he as big as a gang?
Like a whole one-man gang, really.
Well, hell.
I hear him in the background.
Nah, that's Bean. She's up there letting them deer know that they ain't going to cross over into our yard, by God.
George Gray.
Because if they do, she's going to bark at them and then run like hell. That's my guess.
George Gray was born on February 12th, 1960 in Chicago, Illinois. And believe it or not, he starts wrestling at the age of 17 in the Carolinas. He's going to bounce around the different Southern territories, even working with the Poffos and Randy Savage and ICW. But the biggest exposure he has is probably early 1983 down in Florida. When was the first time George Gray was on your radar?
Well, when he crushed Bloomfield first, he was big guy, man, and all the creative names that people would come in with. You had to be if you were big, you were a crusher. And if you were like nasty, mean, you were a bruiser and things of that nature. And his first entree into the business, I believe he was Crusher Bloomfield. Now, I could be wrong. And I think that was for the Poffo family. Saw him.
I think he first started as Crusher Gray.
But he was a crusher, by God.
Yes. But you're right, though. Right. With Randy, he was definitely Bloomfield.
Yeah. And then I think he went to Crockett. And for the life of me, I don't know. Maybe in Crockett, he got the one-man gang moniker because I could see Dusty looking at him, whether in Florida or wherever the hell Dusty was at the time. And look at that. Look at him coming through the door. That's a whole one-man gang coming through the whole motherfucking door. That's a whole gang he got with him. He only one man. It was one-man gang. And when you take a look at Mr. Gray here, and you take a look at the one-man gang, and he is probably one of the last people that you would ever want to approach. And that's when he had his long hair. That's before he shaved his head and did the whole not mullet thing, but you know what I mean, and tattooed shit on the side of his head. And that shot there with Oliver Humperdinck, this beautiful shot here of Oliver Humperdinck with one-man gang and probably the Florida Championship in his hands and big smile. That in a picture is who he is. Just a big, happy, friendly, really wonderful human being. And you would be hard pressed, but he would give you nuggets of entertainment throughout sitting in a locker room with him. I had the privilege of traveling with him a little bit in the Mid-South with Eddie Gilbert and them. And he was just funny, man. He was just funny. He was in it. Wasn't a party guy. He was in it to make money, to save his money and take care of his family. And that was it. And had a little one, and by God, he was going to take care of his family. Had no desire in drugs. Didn't mind that everybody else, was doing it all around him and things like that. But it was all good.
You're right. I think he was in the Carolinas when he first starts going by the name the One Man Gang. But that was sort of a nickname. It was the One Man Gang George Gray. But down here in Florida is really the first time he probably got a lot of magazine coverage and more of a national impression was made. He finds himself working with the likes of Dusty Rhodes, who's obviously huge in Florida, Blackjack Mulligan and Mike Rotundo, and he's being called the Panama Gang here. He's billed at 6'9" and 450 pounds, but boy, he didn't work like it. He winds up making his debut for Mid-South Wrestling As a protege of Skandar Akbar, he's always attacking the baby faces before Bill Watts, who's doing commentary at the time, would say the unnamed assailant. He's a one-man gang. I guess that's where the name is born, but
The unnamed assailant.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. You ever been attacked by an unnamed assailant?
I have not.
I-
Were you scared for your life?
She was pretty hot, so I was happy.
There we go.
All right.
Hey, so the first time you see him, is it Florida? Is it Watts territory? When do you first lay eyes on him, whether it's in print or in real life or both?
In print, I would probably say the Carolinas, maybe even Pafo's group, because tapes started going around and things of that nature. So I probably saw him and looking at some IWF stuff and thinking, oh, hey, holy shit. And the connection, it's funny, the connection to me was Gang and Bob Orton Jr. because they didn't belong. They just didn't belong there. And you looked at him and said, okay, man, goddamn, man, Bob has made a name for himself, done so much all over the world that he could be anywhere. Why is he in the viewpoint of old time wrestlers? More importantly, old time promoters. You know, it was, you're burning a bridge if you go there. They're outlaws. So he just was big and he could move. And then from there, you know, I started seeing the pics of him in Carolinas, but mainly in Florida, I guess is where I saw him the most. And then he came to Mid-South Championship Wrestling.
Let's talk a little bit about, the other territories he's working. He's going to do tours of Florida, Toronto, Japan, and Texas. And he even has a big spot on the second Von Erich Memorial Parade of Champions, where he's going to lose a hair versus hair match to Kerry Von Erich. You know, in this era, the big monster heels, man, there was a need for those guys in every territory, right?
Sure there were, and even better, but see, here's the difference. You can get a big guy and you can get, one of those gimmick monsters to come in and what have you. But a guy like One Man Gang was your big monster, but he could work.
Yes.
He could work his ass off with anybody. Never hurt anybody. Was a sweetheart of a human being, but that was the difference. Bulldog Brower could come in. Bulldog Brower could come in off of his reputation. And another super, like in real life, man, really nice, complete gentleman. But he was a shit. It's horrible. But he could come in and draw off of his reputation, and he could come in and do 3 weeks with your top baby face and be able to move on somewhere else. So, Pampiro Firpo, same thing. Unless you were in a spot, man, where Pampiro had roots, it's, they come in and they go. The difference with George Gray was, the difference with Gang was, he could work. So he could work and he could stay. And he could talk too, even though he wasn't always given that opportunity. But he could talk and he made it happen.
I know you loved working with him, and I know you love your pets, and that's why we believe in Embrace Pet Insurance. We absolutely believe this is important if you're a pet lover and a pet owner. I mean, the reality is these pets feel like they're a part of our lives. You heard Bruce's barking in the background. It's a member of the family. Old Bean. It's Bean Prichard now.
Bean Prichard.
But let's be real. Having a pet is expensive.
She just heard her name and barked. I love it.
From natural pet food to pet sitting, when you go on vacation, all these costs can really skyrocket quickly. And that's why we think it's worth it for your fur baby and your family to have pet insurance. I love Ginger and Baby over at my house too, and I want to do everything I can to make sure they have a happy, full life. And that's why this episode is sponsored by Embrace Pet Insurance. It's time to upgrade your pet insurance game. Whether you have a dog or a cat, Embrace Pet Insurance has customized plans for your exact needs. By the way, here's a quick heads up. Costs are up 33% from last year to this year. Seriously, vet prices are up 33% year over year. But with Embrace, man, you can visit any vet or emergency clinic, and you can even get a 10% multi-pet discount. They've even got a 24/7 helpline and an optional wellness rewards program. They're trying to help you prioritize what they would call preventative care. I mean, in a perfect world, you never need to use Embrace at all. But when something does happen, now you'll have the peace of mind of knowing you can do the best thing possible for your pet. And I have to admit, when I first heard this, I thought it was awfully expensive. I was surprised at how affordable it was for my dogs, Ginger and Baby. In all transparency, we didn't even consider pet insurance until not too terribly long ago. My daughter lost her longtime pet after 9 years of love and memories, and now sadly it's gone. But right before the Rainbow Bridge was a part of the conversation, man, there were some tough discussions that had to happen with her and her mom about, hey, this is going to be a very costly surgery and it might not work. What should we do? Don't put yourself or your family or your finances in that circumstance. Do what's best for your pet and do what's best for your family. Get Embrace Pet Insurance. I'm a big believer. Ginger and Baby are covered. Your pet should be too. Don't wait for the unexpected to happen. Join the massive community of pet owners who trust Embrace Pet Insurance to protect their pet. Head right now to embracepetinsurance.com/wrestle to sign up for pet insurance today. Now make sure you go to embracepetinsurance.com/wrestle or else they won't know that we sent you. That's embracepetinsurance.com/wrestle. So listen,
And, Bean was talking to me, made sure, look, Bean, she wanted to make sure Wally was taken care of. When all was said and done, she said, Dad, really, I'm looking after you so that you can save money in the long term, because I'm sure Wally's going to have some issues. And he was looking after Why?
I don't know why.
Bean and I talk a lot.
I'm sure right now, maybe more than
I
ever.
speak Bean
I've heard that about you.
fluently.
I think Silva does too. So listen, Mid-South, you're around that territory. When you see a guy like One Man Gang come in and have some success, but now he's booked out on all these tours everywhere else, is that a challenge to have a guy who's in and out, or is it because of the way his presentation is, it's okay that he's in and out? It's okay if he's an attraction. He doesn't have to be a regular part of the program.
He was only in and out in the beginning. Then he became full-time, man. And plus, he lived in, probably still does, God, what's the name of the town where everybody lived? Outside of...
Slidell?
No, Alex,
Okay.
Alexandria, Louisiana.
Okay.
And so his wife was from there. His family was from there. He liked it there. And it was probably the easiest location on the tour for anybody to get through. And that is, that was good for him and he liked it. So he enjoyed it. He was gone for a little while, but then when he came in, he was in full time.
He's also in full time when the transition happens from Mid-South to the UWF, and he finds himself working against a top babyface in Jim Duggan. These Jim Duggan One Man Gang matches, chat me up. What do you remember about these?
Holy shit, chat you up. You talk about meaty men slapping meat. That's the best way to describe a Hacksaw Jim Duggan and One Man Gang match. They beat the living shit out of each other. Now, Gang was light as a feather. Jim, I guess I could compare Jim without even knowing, and those that have ever worked with both might make the same comparison. But I would compare Jim to Stan Hansen because he was blind as a bat. Now, with me, man, I never had an issue with Jim. Jim was like a feather with me. Absolutely wonderful, man. Great. We only had to do a few things. and never touched me. But every time beforehand, he goes, "Sorry, brother. Sometimes I got that depth of that perception thing going on." And I'm like, it's fine. It is what it is. And, Jim would throw live rounds, not meaning to, but he just was a big, tough brawler. And Gang was a big, tough guy too. So Gang would return it. And there was never, ever a problem. Man, you hit me too much. You hit me too hard. They respected one another. They went out and they battled. And when I say battled, man, every night was different. And every night, whether there were 30 people in the audiences, which, by the way, sometimes they performed to 30 people, or, 10,000 people. They gave it their all. They went out there and they busted their asses. And that's where, to me, the one-man gang stock went way up. There was a match in Houston where, and I know I've talked about it before, where Gang shoved Duggan into the ring post and there was a bolt sticking out of the ring post and it cut Duggan, deep and probably a few inches long, and it was horrible, absolutely horrible. But that injury and the fact that it got infected and that Duggan wanted a little time off, I have no idea what's going on my phone right now, but that was, in my opinion, I think that's one of the things that contributed to Jim Duggan leaving, was because Bill didn't want to give him time off to heal. And, Gang stayed around. But look, man, one-man gang, he was the kind of guy that if you knew him, you wanted him to be your best friend. Because he was just so nice. He was a good guy. Plus, he was a big badass and kill anybody and beat them up if they, messed with you. I think I took that picture that you're showing right there, as a matter of fact. But, he was also very innocent in that, I don't know, I graduated high school probably. I don't know if he did a year of college, but he really didn't travel the world and experience everything in the world. But then to another point, he looked at things in a different way. He looked at things so logically. There's a steakhouse in Oklahoma City called Jamel's, world famous, still there. And we had to be in Oak City. So we were in Oak City driving back to Tulsa because we had interviews the next day in Tulsa. It was a very rare night off because we did an afternoon show. So let's go to Jamel's. And it was myself, Eddie Gilbert, One Man Gang, and Keith the Libyan. One day I'm going to look up, find out what Keith's last name is, but he was another just super nice guy, journeyman that rode with us all the time. And Fergie was with us. Carl Fergie. So we get in there and Eddie, and everybody is. I'd never been there, so it was my first time. One Gang had never been there, so it's his first time. We're looking for a Lebanese steak, man. This ought to be good. All right. Everybody talks about it, and all that he's talking about goes, man, it's so great. You get fried bologna, tabbouleh, and just like all these different kinds of breads and all this different shit, and it all comes with it. And Gang and I are like, okay, cool. We sit down, we order our steak, they come and they bring us our fried bologna, which big, thick chunk of bologna, and it's grilled. Probably would have been better to say grilled bologna because then the health nuts would eat it. But it was grilled bologna, and it was fabulous. I like bologna, but this man was like the the filet mignon of the baloney. All right. You hear what I'm saying?
Yep.
Grill.
Got it.
And we're eating it, and Eddie is making a big deal out of it. Like, oh, yeah, isn't this great? Isn't this great? Isn't this the best you've ever had, man? He goes, this is so cool. We get all this, and we need more bologna. We get more bologna. And Gang's just saying, goes, Eddie, it's just bologna. And for whatever reason, we all started laughing, and it got the giggles to where every response from that point on was somebody says, hey, how's your steak? And go, Carl, just steak. Go back to eat. But
I love it.
Gang had a great sense of timing, and it was, but he was being sincere. I was like, yeah, all right, man, but it's just bologna.
Yeah.
Good bologna, damn it. That's all I got to say about that.
That's a great story. Right. I'm going to use that for Christmas dinner. Or I guess as folks are listening to this, we already have. I'm going to use that for New Year's dinner.
Are you going to grill it?
Shit,
you should try it, man.
I'm not doing I'm just saying I'm going to when somebody asks me how something is, I'm going to hit them with it's just so and so. I'm not grilling bologna.
It's just turkey.
I'm not grilling bologna.
You should.
No, I'm not going to.
Dude, you should grill. So, folks, I got a surprise for you. It's coming off the grill, and it's going to be unlike anything you've ever had before. Oh my God, it's so good. And then you're going to serve it up, and let them. Don't tell them what it is. Grill it up. Give it a little splash of sauce on there. Just a splash. Don't lather it. Just little grill. Serve it to them. Oh my God, what is this? It's tremendous. You're going to say bologna. Oh, come on, Conrad. What is it really? You wait and see, man. Try you some fried bologna or some grilled bologna. It is off the Chizard. But you got to get the good shit. Fuck Oscar Mayer. Get the good shit. Get the shit behind the counter. But then ask the guy about the better shit down underneath the counter there. Yeah.
Bologna pro tips. Bologna pro tips.
Bologna pro tips. Yep. Bologna code.
So, late 1986, Gang's going to win the UWF Heavyweight Championship at an angle where the champion Terry Gordy was injured earlier in the evening by a revenge-minded Dr. Death Steve Williams. Gang, who's scheduled to face Gordy later on the card, is awarded the belt by forfeit. He holds the strap for 6 months, taking on opponents like Ted DiBiase and Dr. Death and Jim Duggan. And Gang becoming the champion for Bill Watts at this point in the company maybe isn't a huge vote of confidence because the business is going down, but at the same time, hey man, it's a big deal to have the top billing and the top belt. Do you think this was important to Gang or the real life George Gray that he was the champ of a territory?
I think to George that the championships meant nothing. The only thing that meant something to George in that regard was how many zeros there were on that check.
All business.
All business, man. He was all about the business. He enjoyed the camaraderie. I think he really liked the boys, and he liked to travel. Not, so much to travel that way, but he enjoyed the boys. He enjoyed the business, but he wasn't about being, oh my God, I'm the North American champion, or I'm the Mid-South champion, or I'm the Hoboken champion. That kind of stuff did not motivate him at all. Am I getting paid top money? Are you taking care of me? Am I being treated fairly? That's all he cared about.
Well,
which I think is the best way to look at it. Titles mean nothing.
Treat it like a business.
Yeah.
Well, it was just business when the UWF territory starts to falter. Guys like Duggan and DiBiase are going to start leaving. We all know everyone's going to work for Vince McMahon. Hacksaw Jim Duggan and the $1 Million Man and the One Man Gang finds himself approached by the company. And in all honesty, he was perfect for the WWF in this era. He's a big monster heel, perfect opponent for Hogan. He's going to jump at the opportunity, but he handles business and does the time-honored tradition on his way out. He drops the tag strap to what's going to be a future tag team partner, Big Bubba Rogers. I know, or I don't know the timeline. Were you with the company by the time he comes in, or what do you remember about his transition to the WWF?
It was after I came in, right after. But the whole transition thing happened when I left, as soon as Jim Crockett had the meeting with Jim Ross. Ain't nothing gonna change, boys. Nothing gonna change but the name on a check. Really, y'all need to change that segment because Jimmy really don't like him. Or you need to change that segment. Well, Jimmy, don't feel it. I don't think that's gonna work, fellas. That's not, So that day, I made my decision that I was not staying. And I've said before, $20,000 more that they were offering me a year. Didn't want to put up. But if I was going with the unknown, I was going with the big unknown. I'm gonna go all the way. So,
well, let's talk about it. One Man Gang makes his debut also in 1987. I guess you're starting in April of 87, May 12th, 1987, Anaheim, California. There's 7,500 fans there. You're going to do a Superstars taping, record some matches for Primetime Wrestling as well. His WWF debut is a win over Jesse Cortez with an elbow drop from the middle turnbuckle. What can you tell us about the pairing with Slick? Like, I think it was a great pairing. I really like it, but I'm curious how that comes together as best you can recall.
I think, as far as I know, I just think it was pretty much all the heels had managers at the time. So it was, hey, let's Slick and Gang be paired up. I think they were also very friendly with one another. They liked each other. Believe they knew each other from Texas, but I don't know that. That part I don't know for a fact. But man, I never heard of any reason not to do it. I thought that Slick was a good manager for Gang. He was different and made Gang even more special. He gave Slick, that monster to go out and kill somebody.
Well, I'm sure after a match with the One Man Gang, you might find yourself looking for some health care. Well, stop sending your money to big insurance companies that profit off of not paying your bills. Did you know that 48 million claims on Obamacare last year were denied? That's like 1/5 of the claims that are going to get rejected. Do you want to take that chance? Here's the deal. Health insurance sucks. It's confusing, it's expensive, and it's frustrating, but there is a better way. Welcome to the alternative. Crowd Health was created to get rid of the headaches of health insurance, and for just $175 for an individual or only $575 for a family of 4 or more, you'll get access to a community of people who are willing to help out in the event of an emergency. You'll also get telemedicine visits, discounted prescriptions, and more. All this without doctors' networks getting in the way. Let Crowd Health help with your healthcare needs. You can get started today for just $99 per month for the first 3 months when you use the code WRESTLE to get the healthcare you deserve. Crowd Health is not insurance. Learn more at joincrowdhealth.com. Once again, the site is joincrowdhealth.com and use our code WRESTLE to get started today for just $99 per month for the first 3 months. Let's talk about Gang's look. You mentioned the crazy hair. Man, the skull's tattooed on the side of the head. Boy, that's a big look in 1987, is it not?
Yes, big look anytime. Yeah, a little scary, very intimidating guy. And when you look at him, that set him apart. And that was, at that point, there's that decision that's made. I'm One Man Gang. And I'm going to be out there because nobody else has this. And then, of course, Bam Bam Bigelow comes along. But, Gang looked different. And kudos to him for doing that. I don't know that, a lot of things that I would do for the business. Getting a tattoo like that, probably wouldn't. Getting a tattoo, I probably wouldn't. How many tattoos you got?
I got 0.
Okay. Can I see him?
By the way, you did mention, there's so much happening here in May because Bigelow, I think one of his first times being in with you guys, he's going to come in May of 87. And I think that same month, May of 87, that's when the whole Iron Sheik Duggan arrest thing happened, right?
May, yes.
I mean, that's a lot of moving parts here, is it not?
Especially when you're booking 3 towns a night.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of moving parts. And, you know, you can, okay, we got to substitute 2 guys here on the B side. Well, I need to bring somebody from A down to here, but wait a minute, there's somebody from C I can bring up here. And your notebook looks like, you know, Cowboys and Indians after a while because it's just so many arrows and drawings and everything going back and forth. It was a difficult time for a variety of reasons.
This is like where Gang's making his debut here in Anaheim. This is your second set of TV tapings, and you're seeing this influx of talent coming off WrestleMania 3. WrestleMania 3 was a game changer in so many ways that it's hard to really put into words now what it was, but it was a real watershed moment. I mean, not only do you have big talent, physically big talent, like One Man Gang and Bam Bam Bigelow coming in, both in the same month here, but a month prior, you were there, and there's all the upheaval and moving parts now because that sale of Crockett and Watts, that happens just 10 days after WrestleMania. There's just it's an exciting time in the business to say the least. But you mentioned Bigelow with regards to the head tattoo. And I think most of the time when wrestling fans think about wrestlers with head tattoos, we always think of Bigelow first and not One Man Gang. And I know that Bigelow had been with the company a couple of dates in 86, but he really starts his full-time run, if you will, as a regular in May of 87. So if we saw Gang with the head tattoo first, but just barely, why do you think so many of us just think of Bigelow with that more than Gang?
Because you saw him first nationally. To me, I think of Gang.
Yeah.
Because Gang was the first one that I knew that did it, that I worked with on a regular basis. You know, then you see Bam Bam Bigelow and go, okay, he's got a tattoo on his head too. That's pretty cool. His were different. His were flames, and Bam Bam had the skulls. But I don't know that, again, that's what I go back to, man. The Road Warriors didn't mean shit to a WWE audience.
Right.
You know, it was Demolition. They did not look at Demolition as a ripoff. They looked at it vice versa. So it's what you watch. It's what you are accustomed to. And what you're accustomed to and what you first see, man, that's your original. May not be the original, but that's your original. So you look at it as, you know, this is what I want it to be.
Gang is going to be immediately pushed heavily. His first angle on TV is doing his front suplex finisher to his opponent after a match. That happens in July of 87. And then he does it to a young referee, Jimmy Corderas. He winds up being fined by the commissioner, the president, Jack Tunney, $10,000 for his actions.
$10,000.
What do you think Vince thought in this era of the work of a one-man gang, the first time he gets to see him on TV?
From what I remember, Vince loved him. You know, Vince looked at him and saw dollar signs. So did I. I mean, everybody did. So looking at One Man Gang, all you see is, you know, the headline, Hulk Hogan versus the One Man Gang. That was, man, to me, that was box office.
Well, it was box office. I was hoping you were going to give us a Vince-ism there, but okay. He was going to be, he being One Man Gang, pronoun boy, is going to retire superstar Billy Graham by attacking him and ending his career. This is not the same Billy Graham that we had before, but it is a big moment for Gang and a big way to get him going here in the WWF. He goes on to work with Ted DiBiase, really before he's the $1 Million Man, but they're doing this on a lot of Houston area house shows. And he's given his first big match against Hulk Hogan at a Superstars taping in Fresno. Obviously Hogan wins. Hogan must pose, but it's a big vote of confidence to get to work with Hogan. What do you think Hogan thought of working with the one-man gang?
Hogan loved Gang. He loved Gang because he was a big monster to slay. And again, Gang could work. Gang could do things. Shit, Gang could do things, that Hulk couldn't do in the ring for a big man. So Gang had the aptitude, had the ability to make Hogan much larger than life. And that was the secret. So Gang was easy to work with, looked like a big nasty monster, and it's kind of an easy pairing. And that was something, no build up, no angle, no nothing. Just two big badasses. Hulk Hogan and the one-man gang. Goddamn monster movie.
We got to see that big assignment, Hogan and the one-man gang, at the Paul Bosch retirement show in Houston, Texas. And this is actually going to be Gang's first loss on TV. Hogan, of course, is going to hit the big leg drop, 1, 2, 3. And Gang wins the first, tryout Royal Rumble match, which was in St. Louis on October 4th.
Did we actually play that match on TV? Hulk and Gang?
I think so.
I don't know if we did or not.
Gang won the first tryout Royal Rumble, which went down on October 4th, 1987 in St. Louis. There were only 12 guys there, but there's some miscommunication in that they announced at the intermission that there would be a November St. Louis house show where Gang would be challenging Hogan for the title. They had previously said the winner of the Rumble would get the shot. How often does this sort of thing happen?
Shit happens.
Yes.
I mean, there's no other way to explain it. Shit happens sometimes, and the commentator was probably reading from a card, not realizing what they were saying. And
yes.
Hey, guess what, dipshit? That hasn't happened yet.
Yes.
Pay attention. Costs nothing to pay attention.
Clearly Vince is high on Gang. He's going to have a lot of high profile matches, not just against Hogan. He's going to be teaming with King Kong Bundy to take on Hogan and Bruno. That winds up being Bruno's last match, main eventing the Maple Leaf Gardens against Hulk Hogan, Vancouver against Randy Savage. Even the first match he has in Madison Square Garden is against Hulk Hogan. Listen, we all expect Hogan and Savage to be in there with one man gang. That makes sense. But man, what a fun little trivia note that is. Gang and King Kong Bundy against Hulk Hogan and Bruno Sammartino. Most of our listeners are close to my age and they grew up in sort of this Hulk Hogan golden era of the WWF. But man, before that, Bruno was the man in this territory. So, I mean, this would be like having a Hulk Hogan team with a John Cena, right? I mean, that's a generation before different, but it's the same thing. It's unbelievable, really.
It really is, And it was also during this time. I want to say it was March or April. It was August, September timeline, and my timeline could be off. I just will never forget it. We had one man gang. It was TV taping after a long taping, 3 hours of taping. And you always save Hogan for the end because people are going to, that's what sells the tickets. Hulk Hogan versus Conrad Thompson, by God, that sell out anywhere in the world. You do your taping, they don't get any Hulk until the very, very, very end. So you got to sit through all that taping because little Johnny wants to see Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
And you don't want to disappoint. So send one man gang to the ring. That, it's time, and Gang is in the ring, and I'm looking down at the monitor, and the monitor's shooting something else. And I hear the timekeeper. They go, there's somebody in the ring. They took Gang down. And what had happened is one man gang got in the ring, and this guy made it over the rail, got all the way into the ring, and basically just chop blocked Gang from behind. And Gang goes down to his knees and was like, what the fuck? Now, Gang's not an amateur wrestler. He's a legit tough guy, but he's not an amateur wrestler. And this guy the guy was an amateur wrestler that took him down. Probably about, I'm going to say 350, 400 pounds. Big boy. And he tried to get around, and Gang was able to front face lock him and had him. And by then security was there. And also, it was also the beginning of a different time and a different way of handling those types of situations. So that guy got him back, and guy got a bloody nose or whatever, his face bashed in a little bit, somewhere along the lines. And all he wanted is he's coming through. Because none of us saw at the time, we have tape of it, watched it later, but none of us saw at the time the guy take a Gang down or what had happened in the ring. And he comes walking by, and Hogan's there, warming up and shit and everything, getting ready to go out for his match. He says, "Did I do good? Did I do good? Can I get a tryout? Did I do good?"
My God.
Like, what the fuck are you thinking? So fast forward a year, maybe not even a year. Got an extra. The Rochester Roadblock was an extra on TV. Come to find out, that's the guy that attacked Gang in the ring. Went to somebody's school, probably Larry Sharp or somebody up there, learned how to wrestle, and he's going to be a wrestler now. He's going to be the Rochester Roadblock. Crazy world, man. Crazy world. I would not advise ever jumping the railing for any reason whatsoever.
By the way, if you're wondering, that is the same roadblock that was in WCW from 96 to 98. That's who we're talking about.
Was he there too?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that he had I'm actually surprised he had a booking past the one that he did where he was an extra. Not good. He was not good. He was big.
Let's talk about what's next for One Man Gang. He's got a big milestone that happens at the Nassau Coliseum. It's in early November, and him and Hulk Hogan sell out 15,000.
I sold out with Hulk Hogan. I sold to Nassau Coliseum. I sold out. I did 3 more tickets than this. Go ahead.
You want to do a Brother Love show instead of a One Man Gang show? I'm down to do that.
I'm just saying.
Yes.
I was just pointing out tidbits.
I got you. You sold. You're better than Gang. I got it. Brother Love's more over than Gang. I understand. These are just facts. We're just sharing facts.
What are we gonna do?
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Gang's also a part of the first Survivor Series, and by the way, it's in the main event. Check out this cast of characters: Andre the Giant, Rick Rude, King Kong Bundy, Butch Reed. I should have just called this one Over in Florida. They're going to be taking on Hulk Hogan, Bam Bam Bigelow, Paul Orndorff, Ken Patera, and Don Morocco. Interestingly enough, the heels go over. Gang is going to pin Patera and Morocco before helping Hogan get counted out with Bundy. He's going to be pinned second to last on the heel side by Bigelow. But man, you want to talk about rubbing elbows with the big stars. You're in the WWF, man, and you're in there with Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan. It doesn't get any bigger than that, does it?
Hell, I mean, that was kind of like the top of the food chain right there.
Yeah.
All 10 of them were at the top of the food chain. Now, Bundy was stealing money. I don't think Bundy ever went to Florida in his life unless he was going down there to steal some money and try and find a tan, but even he couldn't find a tan. All that mass he had couldn't find a tan.
As 1987 is coming to an end, he's finding himself working a lot of main events against Hulk Hogan. Montreal, St. Paul, Chicago, Philadelphia, East Rutherford in a cage. He even wins a Slammy Award. So whether it's a silly award like the Slammy or it's a great real award like working with Hogan on top in a main event, it's good to be gang here in 1987. That's about as good of a rookie year as you can expect in 1987, is it not?
And is a Slammy not just really the cherry on top of that sundae?
Why not, right?
How in the hell can it get better? I mean, at that point, Conrad, I would have said, thank you very much, and walked right out the door, and you never hear me ever again.
I mean,
I had it all.
Really think about how quickly he's pulling this off. You know, WrestleMania happens in late March. He comes over in May, and the very next pay-per-view the company has after this life-changing, industry-changing WrestleMania 3 is Survivor Series. It's a brand new show created just as a follow-up to WrestleMania and a way to combat Starrcade on the other channel. And he's in the main event against Andre and Hogan. It's unbelievable. And he said in interviews that once 1988 began, he could feel the downward swing for his momentum. He starts sliding down the card, and maybe it's because Ted DiBiase's character, the $1 Million Man, is really catching fire. Do you agree with that timeline that, you know, this $1 Million Man character is really going to suck up a lot of the oxygen in the main event with Hulk Hogan?
Well, it did.
Yeah.
Look, Teddy went in, Teddy got over. Well, the same can be said, I think, for anybody. Here, you know, Gang came in right on top.
Yeah.
Very, very few can do that right off the bat, especially unproven in this territory, if you want to call it that at the time. And DiBiase was kind of the one that you thought, hey, he's going to slide in and he's going to be the top guy. Instead, it was Gang. They switched places. But good Lord, the Gang run that he had, shit, I'd take that any day of the week. And, now it's Ted's turn. Ted had the steam building. Yes, he did.
Gang finds himself as being one of the final two combatants in the first official Royal Rumble that happened in January of 88. He's going to be eliminated by his old foe, Jim Duggan. So Duggan is the first official winner of the Royal Rumble. Duggan must pose.
Ho!
Gang finds himself working with Bam Bam Bigelow a lot on the house shows from that point forward. How did they work together as opponents? I mean, two big monsters with head tattoos like this.
Guys, hey, I know the guys with head tattoos work together.
I thought you were laughing at the visual. Show the visual again. Like, can you imagine explaining this out of context?
I mean, to me, it just looks like, I don't know, cell block 6. What the hell?
Here's what it looks like to me. It looks like how you get your shoulder in a sling like you do right now. I am excited to talk to you guys about the Amazing Kind. It has been a game changer for Bruce. Man, they got something for everybody. The Amazing Kind is a plant-based easy for me to say, a plant-based pain relief balm. They've got creams and gels and everything you need for your muscles and joints. And they've got infused oils for mood support and sleep. All of this is available at theamazingkind.com, and you can get 20% off with our promo code WRESTLE. And by the way, the founder of this product used to work in the wrestling business. He was a producer and editor at WWE, working on commercials and marketing. And now he's really focused on helping people feel better. And Bruce was over the top about this product. We had a call with our ad agency and the people who help support us. And Bruce said, "Hey guys, can we just talk about the Amazing Kind? Like, I don't know where this came from, but we got to get more of this. This stuff is the real deal." Bruce, what's your experience been like using the amazingkind.com with the promo code WRESTLE?
All right, so here is the real deal on it. First of all, before I had the surgery, man, I was in pain, just everything you could possibly imagine. And the ointment that you rub on, and it's a roller, and it rolls on, and put that on. No heavy smell, no heavy nothing. And 15 minutes, I'm going, hey, wow. That's not hurting. It actually works. And I also have a very, very hard time sleeping. And you get the CBN, CBD, put right amount under your tongue, let it sit there under your tongue for about a minute, and then swallow. Now, it's a natural flavor. And a lot of you might say, "Oh, I've tried that. Some of the natural flavors, it's just absolutely nasty." I'm one of those people. This doesn't taste nasty. This doesn't really taste at all. My wife was like, "No, I don't want it because I don't like the taste of those when you try them." I'm begging you to try this one. Now, half of it's gone because she tried it and she liked it. She liked it because it worked, and it helps me get to sleep faster, and it helps me stay asleep once I am asleep and feel better when I wake up. And the rest of them, it's like the right time. Sometimes you just want to take that edge off just a little bit, man. Sometimes you feel a little hyper, they've got it for you. And I cannot say enough about the Amazing Kind, and I want you to be able to experience it, and you should use our promo code WRESTLE. But try their products, and man, the pain relief is, I've tried them all, folks. Tried them all. And this has been the absolute best that I've ever had. And the sleeping is tremendous.
Check it out right now, theamazingkind.com, the promo code WRESTLE. Be sure to check out the CBD topicals. That's what he's talking about. It can help with your pain, your discomfort, your sore muscles, your joint pain, even specific skin conditions. And how about this? CBD has shown potential as an anti-inflammatory agent, and it can help with your muscle recovery and your post-workout soreness and reducing some muscle tension. But CBD's antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties can also help your skin, like acne and psoriasis and eczema, just regular old dry skin. But if you've got chronic pain conditions like fibromyalgia or neuropathy, CBD could even be helpful for you. Maybe you're suffering from migraines. Well, these CBD topicals on your temples and neck can alleviate some of that tension. Bruce is a believer. You will be too. Why not try it? Start feeling better and save some money in the process. Theamazingkind.com. The promo code WRESTLE will save you 20%.
And I'm a skeptical person. Be skeptical. Try it. Give it a shot. The Amazing Kind. Use our promo code WRESTLE. And again, I promote it because I really, truly do love it. And everybody I know, I go, "Hey, have you tried this? You got to try this. Here, try this." And they love it as well.
Theamazingkind.com, promo code WRESTLE. So with Bigelow in his way, Gang actually gets the win over him in WrestleMania IV's championship title tournament. So he winds up getting a bye to the semifinals before eventually losing to DQ to Randy Savage. Here Gang is once again in a big spot, and he's going to get another nod at that. The first title defense for Randy Savage is going to happen on TV on Saturday night's main event. And who better to be a great opponent than that big, nasty heel, the one-man Gang. I know that Gang said he felt like he was sliding down the cards because DiBiase's moving up, but dude, getting down to the last two in the Rumble, the semis of a tournament with Savage at Mania, prime time on Saturday night's main event. Make no mistake, that was seen by more people than any of the other stuff. I mean, a main event on Saturday night's main event for the world title, that's pretty rarefied air here for the one-man Gang.
Absolutely, and in very short fashion too. He did it because he was a hard worker and he never bitched. He he could bitch. We can all bitch. But he was the kind of guy that, first of all, hey gang, I need you on July 2nd, 2024 in Greenville. Okay. It's the last you need to talk to him about it. Unless you change the date or the venue. He's got it. It's just like he's that kind of guy that if he says he's going to do it, he's going to do it. And he expects that out of everybody else as well. And I think that's what disappoints him sometimes.
Let's talk about how interesting this timing is. Remember now, he comes in May of 1987. As we fast forward through 1988, in August, you guys are going to take him off TV, and he's going to reemerge in September on TV in a vignette that I think was done in August. He'll actually make his in-ring debut in September with a whole new transformation. That's right. His manager Slick has been promising a transformation, and he transformed all right. The African Dream. I guess we should set the stage here. Slick is going to summon Mean Gene Okerlund to a mysterious alley where these tribal dancers are going to gyrate around.
Where's your picture up there?
Talk to me about this transformation. I know we've touched on it before, but goodness gracious.
Well, it's time for a change. You know, one of the things like I always talk about, you have talent that can entertain other talent in the locker room and have skills that we're unaware of a lot of times. John Cena rapping, guys telling jokes and just being able to do other characters and do these things or make fun or have a personality amongst their peers. But once the red light goes on, are unable to have that same personality shine through. Gang did a great Dusty Rhodes. And he would just take any situation, baby, if you will, and get funky like a monkey and do all that stuff, you know, like a dream was saying, baby. We're going to get all funky. Because it is the American dream. I had lived a hard time. I know what it's like to live hard times. If you look at me in my cookie suit and my Rolex watch over here and all this beautiful, beautiful jewelry that I got right down the street, the 7-Eleven when they got the little quarter machines and you get all that gold. I know what it is to live in a hard time. Hey, Gang would do this, man. He did it great, and he always did it. And he would get to the point sometimes where he would only do Dusty. You know, I have days like that where everything, what do you want? Don't be intimidated, baby. It's just me. Don't be intimidated. Which, by the way, I did that in an interview not long ago. And the HR representative about lost her shit because she had... I was like, it was fair. Don't be intimidated, baby. Don't be intimidated. It's just me, baby. Just me. But anyway, and Gang did it well, and looking to refresh the Gang. How are you gonna refresh this giant of a man that is truly a one-man gang? And you know, Vince talked to him and said, what if, you know, we transfer, what if you grew your hair out? Take some time off, grow your hair out, and let's bring you back as somebody different. No matter what we do to try to make you different, it's going to have to be a transformation because people are just going to say, oh, it's one-man gang in a different gimmick. We need to make that gimmick transformation means something and make it real so that people know that, oh yeah, that is one man gang who's now Akeem. So, in talking to Slick and gang and everything, decided to, what if we basically transformed him and had a transformation where you actually see the metamorphosis of the one-man gang becoming Akeem.
So
Happens all the time.
based on everything you've said, this was clearly I would say a rib, you would say parody or homage to Dusty Rhodes, the African Dream.
Oh, I would say it's not a rib at all. It was something that gang did. It was another one of those where, hey, Dust, sort of thing they're doing. And Dusty loving it because he liked George Gray. It's like, yeah, man, that's cool. And, but no, not a rib at all. This was just taking someone, and yes, man, people that listen to the voice, watch the mannerisms, are going to go, yeah, that's Dusty. But it is a parody of Dusty. And it is, he's still the one-man gang and his aggression and everything else that he does. But he's doing it in a different way, in a different presentation, in cutting his promos and how he dresses and how he acts. So, yeah, definitely not a rib. That was like just, hey, Akeem and somebody in the room. And I'm a smart ass. Sometimes that's how shit happens. Well, yeah, Akeem the African Dream. And Akeem the African Dream was born, So, look, nothing's original. I go back the other day with a friend of mine here going through my stuff in my house and found a program from the 60s talking about the American Nightmare and the American Dream. Before there was an American Dream and an American Nightmare,
Yes,
in Dusty Rhodes and Cody Rhodes. Nothing original here, folks. It's all been done. We just try to do it with a little different flair, and you're doing it to a new audience. Our audience, right now, what are we talking about here? We're in 1980.
yeah, August and September of '88.
Okay, good Lord, man. They weren't even born, but they're listening to this because of now.
Yeah.
And not realizing some of the insanity that occurred back in the day.
We should mention that Dusty does wind up coming to the promotion, but it's like next spring. So this is August, and when we're filming it, is that it's going to make TV in September. He's going to be billed, he being Akeem, as being from deepest, darkest Africa. You told us that, I know you liked it, and I'm sure Vince loved it. What did George think? Did he feel like he's going from more of a badass to a comedy character, or what do you think?
I think he loved being employed, and I think that he loved the fact that it was creating a new character and an opportunity to do something new. So I think that George looked at it from the standpoint of, I've been this big hulking, one-man gang. How long can you do that? Here's an opportunity to have a new character that I can have fun with. I can cut promos with, change up some of the shit in the ring in my work. If I really want to work like Dusty, where I ain't got to take no bumps, no. But an opportunity to change things up. And I think that's important for the longevity of a character. Is you have to evolve. You have to change things up after a while. And I think that's how George looked at it. He never one time did he go, well, should I really do this? I never heard that from him, ever.
Well, it feels like he embraced it because, man, this dude's boogieing in every match, and those internet memes and GIFs still live on to this day. People absolutely loved it. I like your doing it here.
The only difference is that Akeem would go find you with that elbow. If it was Dusty, he would go, baby, it's him. It's right here. All you got to do is come get it. So your head would find that elbow. But Well, George, at least George would go find you with it. So it was it was a little different. But again, man, I never did anything that. So trying to think, like people think, oh, we're doing it to rib Dusty.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Yeah, everything where people think we're trying to do something to rib Dusty is false. And every time that we did do something that we thought, okay, people are going to think we're doing this to fuck with Dusty, I would call Dusty, because you're looking at the guy that had to call Dusty. And I would call him and I would say, hey, this is what we're thinking of doing. Do you have any aversion to this? Is there any, because if you do, we won't do it. And just so you know that up front, I'm not asking your permission. I'm not asking anything other than, hey, Dream, this is what we'd like to do. Do you have any issues with this? Well, I'd prefer you not mention my family, or I'd prefer you not, something like, no problem, dude. No problem at all. And I think on everyone, there may have been times, I think, that upon execution of different things where Dream, as I've heard, never heard from Dusty, but I've heard from others who have said, oh yeah, that upset him. And probably more, with the Gold Dust character than anything. But, even when we dressed up Gold Dust like Dusty, a Dream, that's what we're thinking of doing. And I'm doing it in 5 hours. So I got 5 hours to come up with something new or get your blessing. And he says, is it going to help my, his thing was, is it going to help my son? And I said, I think so. So especially at that point, because I thought it was better than what they had. Dream was on board. So Dream was on board with this. Dream thought this was hilarious.
So you don't think that Vince had a hard on for Dusty?
If Vince had a hard on for Dusty, he would do it and do it mean-spirited, in a mean-spirited way, and wouldn't say, hey, call Dusty and ask Dusty what he thinks about this. That's not being mean-spirited. That's not being vindictive. That's not being ribbed. That's not being mean. That's being business. And also, that's showing respect to Dusty. We didn't have to call Dusty to say shit. But he always wanted, out of respect for Dusty, he always wanted Dusty's blessing, one way or another. And that's what we did. That's how we operated it. On all those things that people go, oh God damn, they're demolishing Dusty. Dusty was laughing his ass off. And knew long before it ever hit the air.
Well, I'll tell you, it's refreshing to hear that Vince didn't have a hard on for Dusty. But if you'd like to have a hard on for any general purpose,
why are you guys going to say, would you like to have a hard on?
Tell us about your really hard ding dong and how you got it real hard.
Well, there's only one way, because you told me how to do.
Yes.
Do the blue is what you got to do.
Boom.
If you chew the blue and do the blue chew, you too can get a hard on.
So hard even a cat couldn't scratch it, as the American Dream might say. BlueChew.com delivers you all of the active ingredients from your favorites, like Viagra, Cialis, and the Vitra, but in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. Take them anytime, day or night, so you can plan ahead or be ready whenever an opportunity arises. And the process is super simple. You consult with one of their licensed medical providers over at BlueChew.com. Once you're approved, you get your prescription in a few days. It's all online. You get to skip the trip to the doctor's office, the awkward conversations, and there's no waiting in line at the pharmacy. It's BlueChew.com. Tablets are made right here in the USA, prepared and shipped directly to your door, all in a discreet package. And Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. Chew it and do it. And And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code WRESTLE at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com. The promo code is WRESTLE to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we want to thank Blue Chew for sponsoring today's podcast. So let's
just thank Blue Chew for being Blue Chew.
There you go. It really works.
It does. Promo code WRESTLE.
So Vince is going to pair Akeem and the Big Boss Man together. And I like that tag team. They're going to call themselves the Twin Towers. One of the first big high profile matches as Akeem happens at Survivor Series. What a team this is. The Big Boss Man, Ted DiBiase, Haku, and the Red Rooster. They're going to take on the Mega Powers team of Hercules, Hillbilly Jim, Coco Beware, Hogan, and Savage.
Ooh.
Bruce, based on my math there, that feels like a team of 5.
Striving to survive.
Akeem and Boss Man are going to get DQ'd when they handcuff Hogan to the ring.
Teams of 5 trying to survive. Oh, hello, Bean. That's okay, girl. I'm just talking about Survivor Series.
Bean doesn't like your Vince voice.
Of course she does. God damn it, you're a beautiful dog. Yes, you are. Oh, yes, I do it.
Lord bless
As soon as
you.
I do the yes, I do, I love you, she walks away.
Yeah,
That's all she wants.
Yeah, she's out at that point.
She's like me. She just wants to love, man. I just want to be loved.
Well, careful what you wish for. Hey, so George Gray, no matter you're calling him One Man Gang, you're calling him Akeem, he's still working with the top guys. I mean, the first Survivor Series is in there with Hogan and Andre. The second one, he's not One Man Gang anymore, but he's still in the same spot. He's working with Hogan and Savage this time. Really an incredible pairing. And Akeem's going to wind up putting over the Intercontinental Champion, the Ultimate Warrior, on some house shows. You've told us before what Andre the Giant thought of working with the Ultimate Warrior. How do you think George Gray liked working with the Ultimate Warrior?
Here's the deal, man. Here's what I would ask you. Okay? Before you ever ask me that question ever again.
Okay.
I want you to ask as many workers as you possibly find that have worked with the Ultimate Warrior. And you tell me how many people say, oh, yeah, no, he's great. I loved working with him. God, I'd like to work with him every night.
Never heard that.
Me neither. Ever. From anybody. From his friends. Well, we had a friend.
He had friends, but nobody liked working with him.
Did he?
Yeah, I'm sure he did. Don't be an asshole.
I think he and Carrie were friends. I think he and Carrie had a good relationship.
Wow.
God rest his soul, but you know, nobody liked working with him. Would you like to go in the ring every single night and just have someone hit you as hard as they could and just not give a flying fuck about your well-being?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you're the one.
Yeah. I mean, who says yes to that? So Akeem and Boss Man are a huge part of this Mega Power story. We've talked about it before. It's actually Akeem's singles match with Hogan on Saturday night's main event, where Hulk opens the rope for Miss Elizabeth. When the match ends in a DQ because of Boss Man, it's Elizabeth that has to go to Savage to get him to help Hogan from the beatdown. So yes, the story is about Hogan and Savage, but it's a good spot and a vote of confidence for Akeem and Boss Man to be in this spot here.
Sure was. And, you know, this was during a time, interesting story is that we were in, is it Indianapolis? For that, that may have been the first one, wherever the hell we were for the second one, was, you know, there were a lot of rumblings of One Man Gang and Big Boss Man both wanting out of their contracts to go to WCW and work there. They had been offered guaranteed money and what have you. So no one that could do anything about that knew any of that or had ever heard of any of that. All right. So call time, I think, is 1 o'clock, noon, 1 o'clock. They're not there. And we got to, go through this whole thing with Elizabeth and make sure she's safe because Randy's a raving maniac. It's her first bump. He doesn't want her to get hurt. And there's a chance she could hit her head on the concrete if it wasn't done just right. And it got later and later. And finally, they showed up about 5 o'clock. And it was business as usual. And I know Vince had a talk with them afterwards about, is there a problem? And they said no, and everything's good. And, we went on our merry way, but not happy about waiting that long for them to get there that day. And they went out and did exactly what they do, man. They had a great match. They had a great match with Hogan and Savage, and were a part of a historic angle, on the main event. So, that was cool in and of itself, to be in prime time for an hour and to be a part of this major angle. And they pulled it off well. To this day, I don't know if any of that rumor or any of that bullshit has any truth or any merit to it at all. I think it was just circumstantial that they were in a great place. Maybe their contracts were coming up. So, hey, let's make up that they're upset. That'll get them rattled. That happens in this business. A lot of rumor and innuendo there, Connie.
Is the show we're talking about, arriving late and all that, is that at the Bradley Center in Milwaukee?
Ding, ding, ding.
20,000 fans there. It's February 3rd, 1989. It winds up airing on the main event too. It's going to be shown live on NBC. It does an 11.6 rating. Jesse and Vince are on the call, and they go 22 minutes. This pretty iconic match in wrestling history. Hogan and Savage against the Boss Man and Akeem. Really the second main event, but what a big deal this is. And I know sometimes people confuse the two. Saturday night's main event was a much different animal than the main event. The main event is, yes, still on NBC, but it's in prime time. There's a lot of exposure for this Akeem character here, is it not?
Everybody on it.
Yeah.
It was, it was a hell of a night, but that was the center, man. That was the center story, the Twin Towers against the Mega Powers. And this was going to be the explosion of the Mega Powers, where finally you're going to see that hard, that hard divide. This was it. This was the last. It's all odds can take. Can't take no more. And Randy Savage just went back there and turned Bluto around and nailed him with the belt.
It's a big opportunity and a great match.
Huge. I'll give you a tidbit on that match, or not on that match, on the very end of that show. And I think it's edited out because I threw such a hissy fit, a very unprofessional hissy fit, was that because I was also producing and running around backstage, so I had a wireless headset, and I'm trying to get guys where they need to be and get other guys out of where they need to be. And the last scene where Hogan is coming down the hallway looking for Savage, there's Brother Love with a headset on. Okay, bye. All this way. And when I heard it made air, nobody told me that night. When I heard it made air, oh my God, that was the only argument I ever had with Dick Ebersol.
Really?
Yeah, I was. But they fucked up the scene in the infirmary by sending Beefcake too soon.
Yeah, and Hogan asking for the kids out down.
Well, that's on Hogan.
Yeah,
but that's on Dick too. They should have kept him up to time the whole way. But sent Brutus too soon, and then at the end of the thing, not telling me where they were going. And instead, I thought I had plenty of time, and I've got a headset on. I can talk to you, Dick. Yeah, I was a little upset, but hey, that's all. I don't even know if it's still on there. I'm going to go look.
Well, something that we're glad is still on there is George Gray's head, because this match before the big fall apart backstage of the Mega Powers, George goes to bounce off the ropes and he winds up falling completely to the outside between the second and the third rope. It is a scary looking bump. When you're watching this, do you remember thinking, "Oh God, I hope he's okay"?
Yes.
That's a brutal looking spot there.
Dude, that was a holy shit spot. That was a holy shit spot, but it's made even more holier and more shittier by the fact that, that's 400 pounds going through there.
Yes. Fast.
Very fast. And it was a holy cow, man, to see all right. And not having the technology and the wherewithal and communication that we have now to know, is he okay? We got to know. And sure enough, he's back up and yeah, I'm okay. I don't want to do that again. Anybody got any fried bologna? I like that grilled bologna.
The Twin Towers are going to go on and find some success. They're going to defeat the Rockers at WrestleMania V, and Akeem has one of the sickest, nastiest clotheslines you've ever seen on Shawn Michaels. One of my highlights of that show. They would go on, being the Twin Towers, to work a lot with Demolition during the summer, challenging for those tag straps. And at SummerSlam, it winds up being the Twin Towers teaming with Andre the Giant to take on Demolition and Jim Duggan. Akeem winds up taking the pinfall loss from Duggan. Man, this has been quite the successful run. I mean, he's on a lot of the pay-per-views. He's rubbing shoulders with top talent, whether it's Hulk Hogan or Randy Savage or Andre the Giant. What do you think Andre thought of George? Like you've told us before, Andre was not really high on the Big John Studd opportunity. What did he think about working with Gang?
He knew Gang from day one. So he helped Gang. He helped Gang become a giant. He helped Gang become a monster. And, he liked the country bumpkin Gang. You also have to remember that was back in the early years of territory. Andre wasn't there all the time. Gang was, whether it be in the Carolinas or Florida, Mid-South. Gang would take the time to go to Andre, and Andre would take the time to talk to Gang about what he could do better. So he liked Gang. Again, Gang's one of those guys you'd be hard pressed to find someone say, no, he's an asshole. It's just not. He's just kind of an easygoing guy, wants to live his life and move on. You know what I mean? It's just, and he truly believe, I truly believe this, that I think he truly wants you to live your life and be the very best it can be, for everybody. He's just a kind of a warm person.
Akeem is scheduled to be a big part of the Survivor Series 89 team with Boss Man Rick Martel and the Honky Tonk Man. They're going to call themselves the Enforcers, taking on the Dream Team of Dusty Rhodes, Brutus Beefcake, the Red Rooster, and Tito Santana. But instead, Akeem winds up being replaced by Bad News Brown. Any idea what happened there? Do you recall?
I don't, other than I want to say that it was a spot with the other team had Jake on it, right?
It was Dusty, Brutus, Red Rooster, and Tito, no Jake.
Then I don't know, because I know there was a period where we put Bad News in place because we wanted him with Jake.
Well,
so I do not remember on that one at all. Sorry.
I know it happened on a lot of house shows, but I really wish we would have gotten the American Dream versus the African Dream on pay-per-view. Boss Man's going to split from Slick when he refuses to be paid off by Ted DiBiase, and that leads to the end of the Twin Towers. At WrestleMania 6, Boss Man gets the victory, and that would be the last big time match that we would see for Akeem in the WWF. In October, just as the story with Saba Simba is getting started on TV, and God only knows what that could have led to. Gang leaves the company, but he's still being advertised for Survivor Series in 1990. It's a team with Sergeant Slaughter and the Orient Express. So WrestleMania 6 winds up being his last big pay-per-view. But why the end of the run here? Was the travel getting to him? Was there something else? Was he unreliable? Was he not happy with his pay? Do you recall what the issue was with George Gray here in 1990?
Wanted to go home. Simple as that. And it is as simple as that. Wanted to go home.
Yeah.
He had spent, 2-3 years, whatever it was, running hard on the road. It was time to go home. And he just did not feel like making the miles and being away from his family for 3-4 weeks, come home for 2 days, then go do it again. It's a rough life.
Yeah,
it is. Anybody that, you look at the glamour and what's on television and, oh my God, these guys must live this wonderful life. They get to travel and they get to stay in hotels every night and work in a different place. And they get to see all the sights of Dubuque, Iowa and all these wonderful things. They forget about having to get to the airport 2 hours early and having people who recognize you come up and constantly asking you for autographs and pictures. And hey, what's it like? Hey, what's it like when you were in the ring with old hacksaw Jim Duggan? And then you got to go through TSA, and then you got to go through security. Then you got to sit and wait at your gate. Then you got to get on your plane, and now you're stuck in a tube with people who want to ask you questions and come up and bother you. And all you're looking for is, if it's a 2-hour trip, 2 hours, man, give me 2 hours of sleep. Give me 2 hours of rest all to myself. And then you get off the plane and there's more people and you repeat the cycle. That's the price of being a star. That's the price of doing what it is that we do. So when you take that into consideration, that's also to people who line up at airports. Right? Take it into consideration. These guys work hard and it's tough. And I think that Gang had had enough of that. He wanted to go home, Mid-South. He was in a car, probably driving 1,000-mile loops, whatever it was. I forget what the totality of that loop was when you did every one of the major towns. But he was home. You know what I mean? He could get home. And it was familiar. He was never too far away that he couldn't get there by car. And he's a big guy, and it's uncomfortable to travel like that. It is. And I think he just had it. And that was nothing more, nothing less. You could have offered him a stack of money and say, George, you're set for the rest of your life. Have to travel, have to do all this other shit. Don't want to do it. That's my takeaway.
Well, I've got something great that all of our listeners can take away from today's show. You can support the show and look cool doing it because we're excited to announce a new affiliate sponsorship and partnership with Fanatics and WWE Shop. It's an easy way to support your favorite podcasts. Shop official WWE gear and apparel by using our special URL, shopwrestlingmerch.com. Or if you're watching along with us on YouTube, just hit that QR code that's up on the screen right now and click on the description below for the link. We'll also have it up on all of our socials, but it's shopwrestlingmerch.com. You can shop with confidence for your favorite WWE superstar tees, hoodies, caps, belts, and more, all on the WWE shop. But if you use our special link at shopwrestlingmerch.com, it's an excellent way to support the show for free. shopwrestlingmerch.com. So
please shopwrestlingmerch.com and all those great things. Look, you're getting access to all the great stuff. It just comes through us and helps us out a little bit more. And you get some great swag in there, from the WWE championships to Cody Rhodes, yeet, to the classics, to the Hitmans, to the Macho Man Randy Savages. you know, if you really want to know where mommy belongs, she belongs on top, and you can let the world know that. In addition to the NFL championships, you got favorite NFL team, same place, man. Hit it, let them know you came from us, and by God, you're going to get a great deal.
I think you're going to love it. Gang is going to leave the company here. He's going to go to Memphis before WCW. He winds up having a decent run in the company there. He works with the likes of Kevin Sullivan and Junkyard Dog, and he bounces between a few different characters, and ultimately he's let go because he refuses to lose to PN News. He somehow winds up coming back and becomes U.S. champion in 1995. I don't know that anybody saw that coming, but he's a big heel. He's a big heel, fed to Hogan. And, he sort of gets phased out when the New World Order story starts to take shape. I know that he had a dark match back with you guys in 1998. It was February. He wrestled Flash Flanagan in Evansville, but he's not brought back after that. Do you think there was a way that George Gray could have worked either the Akeem gimmick or the one-man gang gimmick in the Attitude Era when he needed to reinvent himself, or did he just have too many miles on him for you guys to roll the dice here in 98?
No, I think he could have reinvented himself. I just think the momentum had stopped. So yeah, we were coming from a dead stop to trying to get him going then. And I don't think it worked. I don't think that he was the same hungry, one-man gang, George Gray, Akeem that was there before. Got the wrinkles out of his belly.
Well, let's talk about the wrinkles out of his belly, because one of the last appearances of Gang on WWE TV is the Gimmick Battle Royal. You're part of it. It's Houston, WrestleMania 17. As I understand it, the original idea was for him to be Akeem, but I guess he'd lost so much weight he couldn't pull that outfit off anymore. So he's one man gang. Is that the way you remember?
Yeah. It was like, well, how hard is it to make? He goes, yeah, but Bruce, once all that comes off, nothing else fits.
Yeah.
And he had dropped a considerable amount of weight. And to try and have gear made up for that. And it was short notice.
Yeah.
And trying to get something done in 3 weeks like that is just damn near impossible these days.
Talk to me about his career. I mean, what do you think his legacy will be? Is it Akeem? Is it one man gang?
I think that people are mainly going to remember him as the one man gang who became Akeem. There's going to be a lot of audience, some of the younger audience only knows Akeem. But from within the industry, those that knew him, I think, liked him. And he was an unbelievable talent in the ring, dependable, had a great work ethic, and was just somebody that you want to hang around with. You know, if there's a spot in the dressing room and nobody's sitting next to Gang, hey, you mind if I sit here? Because you want to sit next to Gang and he'll crack you up for an evening. So he's one of the good guys. He's one of the good guys. He's one of the guys that you see people seek out if they're at a fan convention signing something and the one man gang is there. The boys go seek him out.
Yes.
Because he's just that kind of a human being, and was always really, really good to me, and was always a gentleman. And you look at him and you think, oh my God, this guy's been through everything. You know, he's so rough and tough and, crazy, and no cross him. And man, he was a guy making a living. Had a great look, capitalized on that look, and made a career out of it. And it's something that he should be very, very proud of.
You think we'll ever see him in the WWE Hall of Fame?
I hope so.
I do too. Tyler had a question for us. When he was brought into the WWF in 87, he kept his name and character from his previous company. Why didn't Vince immediately rename or repackage Gang? We know he did eventually with Akeem, but that's interesting because a lot of people are getting repackaged, whether it's Terry Taylor or Kurt Hennig or Ted DiBiase? Why did he let him keep One Man Gang?
We need somebody with Hogan right on top, quick. We also were looking for concentration, and a lot of it had to do with Houston and the Mid-South area, where that was something. Now Vince had an opportunity to go in, and we had DiBiase, we had the One Man Gang, we had the hottest program that UWF had at the time, and it was dwindling. When you add everything else around it, now he had an attraction with a better support system to it, and nicer arenas and everything else. So that was the reason for keeping the One Man Gang. Familiarity in a territory, in an area that we had not, in Houston and in Tulsa, in Oak City. God, man, we kicked WWE's ass every time they came in. Now in Tulsa, they would put on free shows. Hey, come see all the stars and everything at the Tulsa Fairgrounds. In Houston, we just brought in everybody. We brought in the champion, we brought in Bockwinkel, we brought in everybody that was anybody to come in and be a part of that show. We would beat them with our show. So that was the reason. It was familiarity right off the start, and then knowing eventually he'd probably get somewhere else.
We got a lot of questions here, and there are some really good ones. I want to hit this one from Jason Taylor. Could a big guy like the One Man Gang be successful today?
Oh gosh, yes.
Is there anybody it makes you think of? Is there anybody out there who makes you or reminds you of him today?
No, there isn't. That's why I think he can make it today.
I see.
And I look at him and I say, that guy could be a killer monster, and I believe it. But he could work with anybody on the card and make him look great. You could put him in with a Dragon Lee and make Dragon Lee look like $1 million before, he kills him, or before, oh my God, he scores an upset. And it would be believable because that's the kind of worker the gang was.
Mike Mills says, hope you're doing well. One Man Gang, Akeem was one of my favorites. If Conrad is the Alabama dream and Akeem is the African dream, what dream is Bruce?
Babe, I'm the Texas dream. I'm the dream that your old lady has every night.
Oh gosh.
What?
Dutra Packard wants to know, why no feud between the African dream and the American dream?
I was just getting into the dream that his old lady has every night. Look, man, we did a little bit on TV, not on TV. We did a little bit on live events, but eventually we were probably going to get there. Then, one and both left.
Welshman Abroad says, why was there an elaborate on-camera metamorphosis from One Man Gang to Akeem instead of just taking him off TV and coming back as a new character like everybody else did? They look different enough to have gotten away with it.
You didn't like the metamorphosis?
I mean, it was funny, but it was different. You didn't see it with everybody else.
It was very different. Again, we're still talking about it today.
Yes.
It's nothing we could ever do today. Nothing we ever would do today. But as first part of the question, it was different, and it was a different way to bring a talent in. And a lot of times we would, it was a little 6 weeks of vignettes and then bring someone in. Well, this was, man, an established talent that we were going to boom, change presto. And here he is. I already know it's One Man Gang. So now here comes the Akeem character.
It's a little broken Matt Hardy, way ahead of its time. When he would recreate, it's the same character, but it's different. Well, we were doing that with a little magic hocus pocus back in '88 with the One Man Gang and Akeem. Fun question here from Seymour Snot.
Not even close.
No, I just mean in terms of like he would go into the water in the silly reincarnation lake and then he would come out and he's a different character. That's what I mean. Like you're suspending your disbelief a little bit that, oh, the One Man Gang is now poof, Akeem.
But you saw it, Conrad.
I did
Okay.
with my own two eyes.
Yeah.
Seymour,
Them too. Wait, you're over there.
these two.
Boom. Wait, look. Boom.
Seymour Snot, friend of the show. Why didn't WWE make the one-man gang his own breakfast meal, Akeem of wheat? It could have been served in a Jive Soul bowl.
That is probably the best question and suggestion that Seymour has ever had.
Tyler, but this is getting popular. We were just asked a similar question last week. People miss your impressions, Bruce. What would it sound like if Jim Cornette were to sing Jive Soul Bro?
He's just a Jive Soul Bro, motherfucker. Jive Soul Bro. Jive Soul Bro.
Andy Goldsmith says, I know it's not talked about much.
I don't know the rest of the words. I was going to say I don't know the rest of the names, but I was going to say I don't know the rest of the words.
Andy wants to know, can you suggest everyone watch Akeem on the Arsenio Hall show? It was awesome. What do you remember of Akeem on Arsenio?
Hilarious. Because Arsenio was so into it. Arsenio was in on the joke. Arsenio, played with it, and Gang was absolutely fabulous. But the key to it was Arsenio playing along.
Yes.
And going with it. So that was a wonderful outside endorsement. And you know how much heat we got for that?
Yes.
0. 0.
I like that.
Because again, you're on a talk show, man, an up-and-coming talk show. I don't know if Arsenio was number 1 at that time or not, but he was red hot, big fan.
I mean, you used to have characters on there all the time. Warrior was on,
yeah.
Savage, Hogan. Yeah.
Yeah. And guess who the only one he never wanted back was?
Who? Oh God.
Yeah. He didn't want Warrior back, but he loved Akeem.
Boy, I thought you were going a different direction right there since it was Arsenio.
Why?
I'm not going to say it.
Okay. No, the one he didn't want back was Warrior because
people made an assumption. I made an assumption. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Doctor wants to know.
You lost me. Sorry.
Arsenio's African-American. I was just pointing that out.
Yeah.
So when I listed the people who were on the show, Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, and Ultimate Warrior, and you said, guess which one he didn't want back? A lot of people, myself included, guessed a different name.
Oh no, I'm thinking way back in the day.
No, I know that. I'm just saying.
No, I know. Boy, that one went right over my head.
I was like, don't make me say it, Bruce.
If you got to explain the fucking joke, then it's not fucking
It wasn't a joke. It wasn't a joke.
I know it wasn't. You said it and I jumped on it immediately.
Yes.
Which would make it sound, I guess, to you, but I'm like going, yeah, no, man. The guy that he just was like, man, I can do without the Warrior guy.
Yeah.
Anybody else? He loved everybody we brought on there. The stuff with Sherry. That was great. And with Akeem, he got it. He rolled with it and he had fun with it.
The good doctor wants to know, were George and Ray Traylor friends outside of the ring?
Yeah.
And our last question, Sterling wants to know, is Jive Soul Bro the best theme song of this era?
Some said I love her forevermore.
The same old story to every girl that walks through the door.
Ah, yes. It's the Slickster talking to you, honey. The Slickster.
Oh my gosh.
Man, and we shot that vignette in 2 days. One day in the studio Bill Watts did it in Maryland, outside of Baltimore, and then the other one we shot on Main Street in Stamford, Connecticut. And during the shoot in Stamford, there was a fight with some guy getting shot or stabbed, and the cops came and everything, and they're all like, "Should we get out of here?" We had no permits or anything, and it's like, "No, it'll be fine. It's good backdrop, but good background." Shit. Yeah, you just kind of kept on going.
Well, we're going to stop all the keep on going thanks to a brand new app that we're supporting here on the show called Vita. They've created a new form of advertising that eliminates spam and allows everyone to get paid for their time. You simply go to Vita.io to download the Vita app and select a free second phone number, so you no longer have to worry about giving away your personal number. When a telemarketer calls your Vita number, they'll need to pay to get their messages through. And the best part is the app is completely free. You see, brands are finally realizing the value of rewarding their customers for their time and attention, and our new sponsor, Crowd Health, is using it. And it's not only a new fun way to support the show, but you can also earn some money in the process. So please try it out today by downloading the app at Vita.io, that's Vida.io, or by calling 509-WRESTLE and following the link. That's 509-WRESTLE or 509-973-7853 to help support the show. Or don't forget, it's easy to download the app at Vida.io. Call now and you'll earn your first $1 just for downloading. Bruce, that's going to do it for us here on the show today, talking about all things Akeem. Next week, we're doing another talent profile. And I guess this is the last time we will talk to you guys before the new year. So I hope everyone had a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And as people say this time of year, we'll talk to you next year. When we're talking about all things Tatanka, his debut, the undefeated streak, the heel turn, the cup of coffee in 2005, and so much more. Dude, this was fun, but I'm looking forward to paying homage to Tatanka
Talk about
next
next year.
I just, like 2 weeks before Christmas, everybody you run into is, you about ready for Christmas? You about ready? And then after Christmas is done, everybody starts saying, well, I'll talk to you next year.
I'm sitting right here, man.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I'm sitting right down there.
By the way, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications link at somethingtowrestle.com. We're going to be going live on YouTube next year, and you don't want to miss out. It's somethingtowrestle.com. If you've got a question about Tatanka, you can ask it right now at Prichard Show on Twitter and Instagram, or over on Facebook at Something to Wrestle. You can also, I got it now. Took you a minute. So Bruce, we're talking about Tatanka next week. You want to send
only got one hand, man.
Can you send us out the Tatanka way? You have a very special way.
I've only got one hand, man.
You got that throat though. Let's see what that throat do. Are you excited about the episode next week, Bruce?
Always.
No, do it again. Let me try again. You answer as Tatanka.
I will tell you once we go off the air why I can't do it again.
Okay, I understand. You just pee yourself?
No, I'll tell you.
All right, Bruce shit his pants. Let's get that hashtag trending, and we'll see you guys next week right here on Something to Wrestle with Bruce Prichard.
Rock on. We'll talk to you next year.
Did you put Christmas on a credit card? Don't stress out about that extra holiday spending. SaveWithConrad.com can help you consolidate all of your high interest rate credit cards into one much lower monthly payment. SaveWithConrad.com has helped families just like yours save up to $800 a month. You don't need perfect credit or money out of your pocket. And did I mention no payments until March? So don't make saving money a resolution next year. Make it happen today at SaveWithConrad.com. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson here to tell you a little more about what AdFreeShows.com is all about. Get early, ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts every single week, starting at just $9. That's less than 20 cents an episode each month. And yes, you can listen to them all directly through Apple Podcasts or your regular podcast apps. How easy is that? Ad-free shows also has thousands of hours worth of bonus content and docuseries like Title Chase, Eric Fires Back, Conversations with Conrad, and The Insiders. Plus new series like The Book with David Crockett, Monday Mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick, and a whole lot more. And you want to talk about early? You can't get any earlier than listening to the shows live. You can be a part of the live studio audience as we record the podcast. Plus, ride shotgun alongside your favorite childhood heroes for live watch-alongs, Q&As, and other interactive experiences every single month. Come on now, see for yourself what thousands of other wrestling fans from around the world have discovered, that adfreeshows.com is the best value in wrestling. Check it out today, and hey, when you do, the first week is completely free. adfreeshows.com.